Welcome and thank you for joining today's webinar, How to Drive Customer-Centric Actions in Finance. My name is Dina Otero and I'll be today's moderator. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available to all of our attendees. We'll also be hosting a Q&A after the presentation, so please feel free to submit your questions in the chat window on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Today I'm joined by Michelle Falcon and Miguel Ramos. Michelle is a customer and employee experience executive coach. He works with organizations who aspire to recreate or refine the service they deliver to their customers and employees. Miguel is our mobile expert, and he has more than 15 years experience in mobile technologies and helps develop mobile solutions for both voice of the customer and market research. So with that, I'd like to pass it on to Michelle.
Dina, thank you very much for the warm introduction. I really appreciate it. And hello to everyone. I'm really excited to be here and bring value to the community. I believe this is the fourth event Confirm It and I have hosted together, and I always love doing so. One thing I know very well is that regardless of your industry, I believe executives and business professionals now understand that customer experience must be a pillar in your organization and really be a strength. What I'm hearing now is, what do we do next? And today I'm going to talk about the 4 voice of the customer strategies to improve the success of your program. Many organizations have created this initiative, and now they're asking, what else do we need to do to really maximize value? So I want to talk about 4 strategies today, and I really hope that you will ask some questions during the Q&A period. The first strategy and recommendation is you must have a single point of accountability, and the organization must know who this person is or team. So appoint an SPA to be the organization's go-to VOC representative. This person must become an internal subject matter expert so that every person within the organization, whether it be the CEO or a frontline employee, they must know the person or team responsible for managing the program. Now, to ensure that these individuals or this person is a subject matter expert, I encourage them to attend industry events and be able to collaborate and brainstorm and share best practices, not only within your industry, but with neighboring industries as well too. Now, what this individual or this team, where they reside within the organization, the department, I think is irrelevant. I've seen VOC live within, or customer experience for that matter, live within marketing, operations. We're familiar with the chief customer officer role now, but I think it's kind of irrelevant because there's no one-size-fits-all answer for that question. It's whatever makes sense for your organization. There might be some individuals that operate within the marketing department that are well suited to own the VOC program because they already have some expertise or some prior education. The next organization, the single point of accountability, might live within the operation, operations. Now, one thing that I highly recommend that the single point of accountability do is create highly shareable documents that I call customers at a glance. This is a fantastic way to, in a very lean fashion, share the data that's coming from your VOC program. Now, I recognize that software like Confirm It, you can go into the platform and run reports. But the fact of the matter is that some people have not created that behavior within themselves to habitually do that. Now, you can spend a lot of time trying to coach them on how to do that, or you can create something as simple as a complaints at a glance document. What this is a one-page document that highlights the month prior's results. You can email it to everybody, which I don't necessarily recommend because I feel like email's a little broken. You could upload it to a Slack channel or some sort of inter-office communication tool, your intranet. The point of the matter is that you should share the data in a highly shareable way so that everyone in the organization receives it, not just the C-suite, not just with managers, but everyone. You'll be really surprised, I would think, that by sharing that information, how engaged your frontline employees will become when you share this data with them. But to be able to do that, you have to simplify it. You can't have it in a developed in a fashion that only your analyst within your business will understand. If you don't simplify it, it's going to fly over the heads of your team, many of your team members, and therefore you will not receive the same amount of value you would if you were able to simplify the data and just really break it down. So that is the first strategic approach that I recommend to take your VOC program to the next level, is really make sure the organization knows who the person or team is that owns VOC. The second is accountability through strategic planning. Now, it's fantastic when a company does survey their customers habitually. They invest in that opportunity. But if that's all you're going to do, all you're going to do is listen, then you're not going to maximize that value. You must listen and take action. And to take action, you must build a strategic plan. So I recommend that you create at least one strategic initiative every quarter to better your customer experience. Now, on your quarterly strategic plan, every month there should be some sort of approach that you're going to take to better your customer experience system-wide. Now, you can do one of two things. You can create those plans according to what makes sense for you, the professional, or you can leverage your VOC results to determine your initiatives. Your customers know you have an intimate understanding of your business, your strengths, and your weaknesses. Always refer back to your VOC data to be able to understand what those initiatives should be. Now, am I recommending that you listen and take action on everything that they say? Absolutely not, because some things aren't feasible, some things aren't practical. But you always want to revert back to your VOC data to weigh your options. I recommend that you double down on your top 3 promoter reasons. Now, what I mean by double down is if your customers love you for 1, 2, 3 reasons, and every single month by creating complaints at a glance document, everyone in your organization, month over month or quarter over quarter, should understand and be able to recite the top 3 reasons why you had promoters for the month before or the quarter before. Now, if these are your current strengths right now with your existing customers, don't you believe that prospective customers may also love you for those reasons as well too and want to do business with you? When I work with marketers and branding teams, people in PR, one thing that I advocate is that they work closely with the VOC team to understand what their customers are saying and build marketing and PR campaigns according to what the current customers love about the organization. Because, again, if existing customers love you for these reasons, don't you think prospective customers would love you as well too? Now, and also continuously reduce detractor reasons to mitigate at-risk customers. If your customers are complaining or deflecting for a variety of reasons, well, they're not going to go away unless you do something about it. Now, if your organization has, many complaint reasons and categories, should you try to address all of them all at once? Absolutely not. That's very overwhelming, and the risk is too high. What I do recommend, though, is that with your strategic plan, also create another initiative to reduce the top reason why your customers are complaining. Once you start seeing that reason decrease month over month, then you can move on to the second reason and then the third reason. By taking that approach, I was able to help an organization based in Canada. They do $150 million a year in revenue, so a medium-sized business. But by taking that approach, we were able to reduce system-wide customer complaints through all channels collected by 33% in 3 months. So that was a great win for their organization, and I would recommend that you take a look at that as well too for your organization. Thirdly, look to create effortlessness. and this is where I'm going to really talk about the finance and the banking industry here. Customer experience isn't just about smiles and being friendly to your customers. While that is important to build rapport with customers, I believe the game right now is effortlessness. Because of technology, consumers understand that I don't need to exhaust a lot of effort, or I shouldn't need to exhaust a lot of effort to do business with you. So what I recommend is that you identify customer pain points. Where are your customers exhausting a lot of energy? You can do this one of three ways. Well, there's several reasons, but I recommend these three to start off. Continuously review your VOC data. Host customer journey mapping sessions. And develop a customer advisory board. By being able to do those three things, and I'm not asking or recommending that you do them simultaneously, but have them on your radar as strategic initiatives within your organization, because through these three methods, you'll be able to have a macro and a micro understanding of what your customers are saying and where their pain points are in doing business with you. So to talk about the industry, so leverage technology to limit the exhausted energy. I believe that the banking industry and the finance industry did a fantastic job of being able to deposit checks through your mobile phone by taking a picture of that check. Now think about 15 years ago when that service and that ability wasn't available. I, as a consumer, would need to drive to my bank for 15 minutes, wait in a lineup for 10 minutes, drive home 15 minutes. That could have taken me up to 45 minutes simply to deposit a check. Now I can do it in 45 seconds. Most recently, last month actually, I secured a mortgage, and I estimated that it took me a total of 10 hours and 3 visits to my bank to be able to acquire a mortgage. Now I understand there's a lot of legality to it, and you do need to spend time to be able to make that happen. But I was thinking to myself, why can't I do this at home? You know, we have the technology to be able to do this. And I could sign the documents using DocuSign or some sort of some other technology like that. But that's what I mean about providing effortlessness. Why must I spend X amount of hours to purchase something or to complete a service if I can do it in a much more efficient way from home or from my office by leveraging technology? So I recommend identify pain points each year and build programs to promote effortlessness, and look at where you can leverage technology to reduce the amount of energy that your customers are exhausting. If you are able to do that, your customers will not forget, because how I equate success, part of the way that I equate success with people companies that I do business with is this company making me efficient as an individual? Are they saving me time? That 10 hours I spent getting a mortgage, could that have been reduced to 5 hours? And that 5 hours I saved, I could have spent exercising, spending more time with my family or my pets. If a company is able to do that for me, I will recognize them for that. I will become more loyal to them for that. I will spend more. I will refer more. And it's a win-win situation for both the organization and the consumer. So identify where your pain points are and create effortlessness. The last strategy and recommendation is the timing of your VOC. The timing of your VOC program is of the essence to leverage promoters and save at-risk customers. When you have a promoter, a customer that replies to your survey and they say, I absolutely love you for your service or your product, you must ignite them. And what I mean by ignite them is that you must look at them as an opportunity to gain more customers, but the timing is of the essence. If I told you today, I filled out your survey and I said I love you for XYZ reason, I would never, ever do business with your competitors, and if you offered me some promotion a month from now, that sentiment is gone now. I was releasing endorphins when I filled out your survey because I loved you. You should have ignited me right then and there, and I would have done everything I could to spread positive words and sentiments online through social media, or told my friends and family members about you and about the experience that I got. The same goes with at-risk customers as well too. I believe that a 1 business day maximum should be your service level agreement for any customers who are complaining through VOC. Now, the timing of sending the survey to your customers. I believe if you are serving customers in-app through their mobile phones, it should be done after every transaction. Similar to how Uber, the transportation company, does not let you book another car until you have filled out their 1-question survey to rate the last driver. I, this morning, did some banking on my mobile phone, and I thought to myself, why aren't I being asked how that experience was? I believe the response rate would be extremely high if you're just asking one simple question. For in-store surveys, I think that they should be done between after every 5 to 10 transactions. A company that does that very well is Starwood Hotels. Now, the reason that I wouldn't recommend doing it after every transaction is because typically for the hotel industry, and it might be the same for the finance and banking industry, they ask a wide variety of questions. So I wouldn't find it very convenient as a customer to be able to be filling that out after every single transaction in store. And lastly, post-call survey. If consumers and customers call in to your institution, have a voluntary opt-in. Now, we're familiar with this. We've probably all experienced that post-call survey. I recently had to call Netflix because my Netflix went down, and if you're anything like me, that's a big deal, and I wasn't very happy because I wanted to watch my show. So I called Netflix. This is the first time I had ever had to call them, which is a testament to their technology and their user experience. But I called them, and at the end of the call, as I was about to disconnect, the employee had planted the seed with me and said, Mr. Falcon, would you mind filling out or completing a 2-question survey after the call? He had delivered on his promises. He did a fantastic job. I said, absolutely I will, because I felt like I owed him something. But by having your frontline employees plant that seed, I knew what to expect, as opposed to if he had just hung up and I heard the post-call survey, I would have been like, what is this? I wasn't expecting this, and I probably wouldn't have filled it out. So I want you to think about your VOC program and the timing of when you are serving your customers to maximize the amount of times and your response rates. Those are my 4 strategies. I have an ebook that has 28 other strategies, one that costs an investment of time and money, and some that don't cost anything at all. If you're interested in receiving that ebook, I recommend that you email me at michelle@michelfalcon.com, and I would be glad to send it over to you. And now I'm going to pass it over to my friend Miguel. Miguel, you are on stage.
Thanks, Michelle. It's very, very interesting what you've mentioned, because I have recently got a mortgage. I'm based here in the UK, and I totally understand the frustration, how long it can take to fill all the applications, and how an organization could really save my time. So today what I'm going to do is to talk about 3 things. The banking themes that I'm seeing when I'm talking to financial organizations. Then I'm going to link it to what Michelle has been talking about, how listening to your customers and empowering your employees can really add value to your organizations, and also how to close the loops through driving improvements through tactical and strategic actions. And I will explain what they are. So with regards to the banking themes, when I talk to financial organizations, I always get 3 themes that are reoccurring. They're coming over and over again. The first one is enhancing customer experience. Financial organizations are have this at the top of their agenda because technology is rapidly evolving and is really impacting all areas of banking, from the way banks understand and engage with their customers and the way they engage their operations and also the way they manage risks. So they're putting the customer at the center of their business, and this is a core theme. The second theme that's always appearing is regulation and compliance. Because regulation and compliance continue to challenge business models and economies. The regulatory demands continue to rise, and the compliance are both expensive and operationally challenging, and billions are really at stake here. And what I'm going to do when I talk about tactical action management, I will provide you with an example of how the voice of the customer and the customer experience programs can also be used for this theme and to address this need and also to reduce costs. And the third theme is the new technologies and cybersecurity, because mobile is really at the core of these of the financial industries. But new risks are emerging, and trust remains elusive. And customers often feel that their banks don't have their best interest at heart, and they're scared because of all these cybersecurity scandals. So on this first part, I'm going to go through some statistics that I have found. The first one is from PwC's 18th Annual Global CEO Survey. And what's interesting is that the CEOs of the financial organizations, they find that mobile technologies for customer engagement at the top of their strategy. As I mentioned earlier, technology is rapidly evolving and it's impacting all areas of all the banks. And the banks, they want to engage with their customers, they want to engage their operations, and also the way they manage risks, and technology can address this. And if you look at the third option, it's cybersecurity. It's also 93%. It's strategically important for the financial CEOs. The second theme, which is regulation and compliance, it's a challenge. The same study shows that 89% of banking and capital market CEOs are concerned that overregulation is a threat to growth. What I want to say is that, yes, regulation can be a challenge, but can also create both barriers to entry and opportunities for growth. And I'm going to be showing you how you can use your customer experience programs to address these needs and to align it to this strategy that is at the top of the CEOs. And the third theme is technology. And the reason for this is because mobile is growing. And CEOs are seeing that mobile technologies placing it at the top of the list. And this is more than the cross-industry average of 81%. So mobile is at the core of the mobile digital banking industries, because consumers are shifting more and more their activity to their mobile devices. And if you look at this graph, 23% of smartphone users are expecting that you as a bank are going to change their experience based on their location. So, and remember this number because this is going to be growing, which is called context. And the number of devices, as you can see on the bottom left, are growing, and it is expected in the US to grow from 2 billion people using smartphones to 3.5 billion people in 2019. The number of applications in the US has grown in 2010 from 233,000 on the Apple Store to 10 million expected in 2017. But the important thing is this, that organizations, according to Forrester, are going to spend 130 billion to re-engineer their platforms and processes for mobile engagement. Why are they doing this? Because customers are using mobiles to talk and to use to carry out all the banking transactions, and the organizations and the banks need to supply all these apps with all these features that are based on, that have got all the information about the customer. But how do you know that you're really achieving improvements? If you've got a voice of the customer program and you want to become, or you have become more customer centric, who do you need to ask? Well, the customer is at the top of the list because they are the individuals that are at the core of the customer experience. But this is not only the one group that you really need to take into account. The group that we at Confirm It believe that also need to be taken into account is basically your employees, your voice of your employees. They know that the activities that you're carrying out are really impacting your customers. So in a normal scenario on a voice of the customer program, your customer is interacting you as a bank through the branch, maybe the contact center or the digital channels, and you send them a survey to collect feedback. But the feedback can also be collected through social media. As I mentioned, a customer-centric organization needs to concentrate and needs to collect feedback from the customer and as well as from the employee. Normally, we are collecting feedback from the employee with the HR engagement survey. This happens once a year, but everyone is doing this. What we're talking about here is collecting the voice of the customer through the employee. So let's get the employee's perspective on the customer experience. How do they feel about the transaction with the customer? They're at the front line. They're dealing with the customer on a daily basis. And in addition, if you don't ask them, they're going to be disengaged. Don't alienate your employees because they're at the center of your customer-centric business. Your customer-centric business requires an employee who understands their customer base. So their voice needs to be taken into consideration. All the information needs to analyze. So as Michelle mentioned, so that you can close the loop. And at Confirm It, we believe three things. And these are the things that needs to be taken into consideration, which are the three types of actions. So you can listen to your customers' feedback, you can listen to your employees' feedback through the engagement programs, or you can listen to the voice of the customer through your employees. But the core of all these programs is to design it so that you place the customer at the center of your business. Your customers often feel that their banks don't have their best interests at heart. So you really need to take actions to serve the needs of your customers. And it doesn't really matter if it's a product need or a service need or a delivery need through technology. So if you're not doing this, others will. And this is why we feel that the actions need to be taken in the three areas: your customers experience area, which is the client here, the strategic and process improvement area, and your core team area. So what I'm going to do now is to concentrate and focus in the two areas, because becoming more customer-centric means that you're really going to move from a traditional branch-based engagement model and from the distribution models where channels operate in silos into a seamless multi-channel model with the customer at the center of it. And for this, the two types of areas that can be taken are strategic and tactical areas. These are the business actions that can be taken. So I normally get asked, what's the difference between tactical and a strategic action? Well, let's start with tactical actions. These are the actions that you're going to be taking when, for example, there's an interaction of your customer with your organization. You're collecting the feedback, and maybe you could collect the feedback in the form of a survey. The feedback could be a positive comment or a negative comment. This is what we call a case. Okay? So a case is what's going to drive actions with your team, with your branch or contact center managers, so that tactical actions can be taken as a result of the customer feedback to close the loop. So let me give you an example in the financial scenario. Let's imagine that you've got the area of regulation, and you want to apply this to regulations. You could use this to collect the feedback from your customers. This is called outcome testing. For example, imagine that you're selling a product through the digital channel, and you really want to check and confirm that your customers really understand what they're currently buying. Well, outcome testing done through the voice of the customer program, through sending a survey, can enable your organizations to follow up on the purchases made to test the appropriateness of the product sold relative to the customer needs. This means that if your customer is buying a product online and they provide you with feedback, and the feedback suggests that they don't really understand what they're buying, you can take an action in the moment, and you can send it to the branch or contact center manager to address this and make sure that your account managers can really talk to the customers and make him or her understand what they're really buying. So for compliance, it has a lot of values, a big value to an organization, because it can really help you save a lot of dollars. This is just an example of how organizations can, on your account managers, can receive all the different cases. So what I'm going to do now is also show you that the cases can also be sent to the mobile phones. And I'm normally asked, well, why would you do that? Well, imagine that you are financial organizations in a B2B scenario. If this is your case and your account managers are traveling and your account managers received a case where one of their customers, one of their business customers, are providing a very low score, they can actually take actions while even they're traveling. So this is the SLA and that Michelle was talking about. Strategic business actions, what are they? Well, the strategic business actions, they're designed to demonstrate that the organization, the bank, is actively listening and engaging with the strategic agenda. So you are aligned to the key business priorities. I'm normally told, well, this is not the case of just looking up to your dashboards and seeing all the alerts, all the cases, the same, and you've taken the same actions, and we just decide to change something in the process. Well, I normally say, well, imagine that you have a long queue on your branches. It's an action if you take an action to address that long queue, is this really truly going to drive an improvement? Is this improvement aligned with your key business priorities, which could be additional revenue, maybe cross-selling or customer satisfaction? This is what strategic actions are. And this is why you need technology, because technology can help you prioritize those areas for improvement, can help the senior executive to prioritize and analyze the information in real time with a technology that identifies for them the key drivers. Michelle was talking about the key. What are the three actions that have been taken by the business that have helped to increase the customer experience, for example, in a specific part of the business? Well, those are best practices that can be shared across the organizations. And this is what can be done using technologies and using strategic actions dashboards, because you can monitor all the previous actions and you can share those best practices. And Michel, he mentioned how you really need to split them into, split the data, simplify the data. Well, the data is simplified for you into cases by the technology. And this is what you can use in the strategic business actions together with all the prioritization, all the key drivers. So to finish, I hope I have given you an overview of the business themes that we're seeing in the financial industries, which are enhancing customer experience, regulation and compliance, and new technologies and cybersecurity. And technology really it's really going to enable you to monitor all the actions and also to listen to your customers. Customer feedback can really help you to align your business, align the program to the business priorities, the key priorities. So you can help it can help banks to provide a better customer experience by listening to the customers and the voice of their employees. And the message here is to empower your employees to provide feedback that can help executives to take strategic actions and operational teams to take tactical actions with their customers. So the idea is to impress their customers. And I normally refer this to the action management reference number. Wouldn't it be nice if a customer provides you with feedback, and then your team is able to contact the customer and provide him or her with their action management number? You straight away stating the SLA, you're doing something about it, and that the organization is in control, and the customer is going to be very impressed, and they will see how an action is taken at a later stage. So just to finish, monitor all the actions that are taken. All the technology can really help you. And voice of the customer places your customer at the center of the organizations, because customer expectations are rising, and they're often shaped by their experiences with other industries. This is what Michelle has been talking about. And your customers expect seamless, on-demand, and relevant interaction. And the objective is to move your bank from having a monologue, or what I call a one-way communication with your customers, to a dialogue, a real customer-centric experience or dialogue with your customers. It's a two-way communication. They provide you with feedback, and you contact them. You provide them with their action management reference number, and you keep informing them that some actions are being taken as a result of their feedback. Back to you, Dina.
Thank you, Miguel. And Michelle, thank you both. So we're going to go right into the Q&A. We've already got quite a bit of questions coming in, but as a reminder to everyone on the webinar, if you do have any questions, feel free to submit them throughout the last few minutes using the chat window on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. All right, Michelle, we'll start with you. How can a company that has been slow to adopt change create an effortless customer experience?
That's a really good question. The challenge is within that question. Is being reluctant or slow to adopt change. That can't happen. Businesses and experiences and new technology are moving so fast and being created every single day that has to be able to create an effortless experience. You have to get past that. Now, that could be, there's no one-size-fits-all answer for that, but there's a couple of things that you have to look at is, what is stopping you from changing? Are you paralyzed because you're asking yourselves or telling yourselves, we tried that before, it didn't work? Does there have to be a change in leadership? To create an effortless experience, you do need technology to be able to support that. You can only say please, train your frontline employees to say please and thank you and be cordial to your customers. You've already maximized that. You have to leverage technology, and as I mentioned, find those pain points, use technology, work with your IT team and your tech team to be able to create that effortless experience. So to summarize, identify why you are moving so slowly, and two, work closely. Your CX and your VOC team must work hand in hand with your tech team to be able to leverage technology to offer that effortless experience to your customers.
Great. So actually you just answered the second question, which was part of that one was, do we need to leverage technology? And I guess the answer is yes.
I'll get away with just saying yes.
Okay. Miguel, can customer feedback be applied to regulation and regulatory demands?
It can, yes. I gave an example about how tactical actions can be applied to regulatory and regulatory demands. I can understand why this question has been asked, because banks are really evolving their business models based upon the regulatory demands and their new economics. And they have a regulatory agenda, and there's a lot at stake. We are seeing financial organizations and banks that are currently using voice of the customer programs to collect feedback from their customers to make sure and to be able to show the regulation or the regulatory bodies that their customers truly understand the type of products that they're buying. And this is the value, because normally voice of the customer programs are thought of programs designed for maybe complaints or to identify best practices. But this is another big area, and it is a big challenge for financial organizations. And the answer would be yes. The answer is yes. And we're currently seeing banks that are doing this, especially through the digital channels, because this methodology allows you to log every single piece of feedback, and you can go back to your regulatory bodies with this information, which is objective information that shows that your customers truly understand what they're buying. And if they don't, you're taking some actions as a result of the purchase. And this really adds value to the customer, because when they're buying a product that is not appropriate for them and their bank is contacting them, the bank is really helping to build trust with their customers, and that has a great value.
Okay. This person's question, I think, is is one we hear quite a bit. We gather customer feedback very well, but we continue to have the same detractor reasons month over month. How can we improve this? Michelle, I think that's probably best for you.
Yeah, I mentioned it a moment ago, but I'll expand on that a little bit more. Is similar to how in your industry, there's a strategy and approach, a well thought out approach on, interest rates or how your stores or retail stores are designed. You must take that same methodical approach into creating customer retention strategies, because as I mentioned, they're not going to go away unless you do something about what your customers are saying. Now, again, if your customers are, it depends on volume. If the top 3 reasons why you have detractors have been so for the past, 6 quarters, let's say, well, that's a huge red flag that this is an issue. You don't have to create strategies after every single time a customer says has some sort of complaint, but as soon as you start seeing it, a dozen times or 24 times, well, then somebody should be keeping a close eye on that. Once a month, or perhaps even on a weekly basis, depending on the severity of the problem, your team should get together and strictly just put your detractor reasons under a microscope. That's why having a single point of accountability for your VOC program is so vital, because there's almost like a quarterback for it. That using a American football reference there, but so that this individual can take a look at the detractor reasons and then identify, okay, this detractor reason is happening at this point of the customer journey. Who owns or manages that touch point? Then reach out to that department or that individual and say, look, here's the data. Our customers are complaining. If you're able to put a $sign next to that as well too, that's going to create some urgency as well. But to talk more macro, you just need, and to go back to what I had started off with, is you must have a methodical approach to it. Too often companies are doing some of the foundational work, starting their program, surveying their customers, refining their approach to it to increase survey results rates. But then what happens next? It's the behind-the-scenes stuff that has to become a part of the DNA of the organization if you want to reduce your detractor reasons and increase your customer retention. So that's how I would answer that, Dina.
Okay, thank you. Miguel, back to you.
Dina, I would like to add something to this, and it links back to something that Michelle has just mentioned, the cost associated to the actions. One of the recommendations that we normally make to our customers, especially related to tactical business actions, is to associate the cost of taking an action. So, for example, imagine that your customer is providing a low score because there's something that they have purchased, and as a result, you need to send them some kind of voucher. You need to send them something that is really costing the organization, or maybe the time. So the value here is to make sure that every single case that you're logging as a result of the actions that you have to take from the feedback that's coming from your customer has a cost associated to it. Because it's very easy, once you've got that on a strategic dashboard, to link it back to the cost to the business of taking the same action over and over again. And that's one of the recommendations that I would like to add.
Okay. Actually, Miguel, that's a great segue to the next question is, should tactical actions only be, or are they designed only to rescue customers?
Oh, that's I can answer that. Organizations, they normally see it as a way to voice of the customer, as a way to rescue customers, to address, to make sure that you don't lose the customer. So, but the answer is no. They can be designed, and Michel has mentioned this throughout his presentation. It can be used as a way to make sure that you on your dashboard you show what are the 3 top reasons why our customers love us. So you're not using that information to rescue customers. You're using that information to in your marketing campaigns to address the needs of your prospects, because your existing customers will have the same needs. Your prospects will have the same needs as your existing customers. So the answer is no. You can use it for your promoters, and you can also use it to I call it the ambassador program. imagine that you've got the promoters, and you know who your promoters are, and you know that your promoters are also using social media because you're asking them. And if they like you so much, they will be willing to share why they like you on their social media channels. So I've seen organizations that are using their promoters, and they're embarking their promoters in the ambassador programs, which are programs that allows them to test new features. For example, if they love your bank, they love interacting interacting through their digital channel, the mobile channel, and they're so excited about the bank, they will be willing to spend some time testing the new features, or be the first ones to use the new features, the upcoming features, and providing you with feedback. So that's a value for you as an organization, as a value for them, because they're the first users, and they can help you share and make sure that you're really becoming a more customer-centric organization.
Great. Well, thank you both again for speaking today, and thank you to all of our attendees for joining today's webinar. That concludes this webinar, and we hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.